going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today marks the start of the series on the 1990. What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today marks the start of the series on the 1997 W900. If you guys remember this truck, it's the one we painted the front fenders orange and we did the whole chrome out dash and all the nice stuff in the interior. But I'm sad to say the orange is not here to stay. But we started on this project about a week ago and never really filmed an intro, so this is going to be the intro for it. So we're going to start the footage from a week ago today and the beginning of this whole process of taking the bunk off to doing all the work on the sleepers. And I'll catch you back in present time. Could have gone worse. So. Ugh. It's 10 mil. I got it, you won't let the jack down. I got it. Alright guys, so we got the bunk off.
We got the fifth wheel plate off. We pressure washed everything. I tried tightening up some of the air lines and wires back here, but the next step is the mud flat brackets, and then we're gonna take off the tires and flip it around so we can get in here and clean, and then hopefully get it all ready to paint the frame. So let's get to it. Yeah. So I've been working on the bunk here. I didn't really film me cutting all the rivets out or anything, just because there's over 100 of them. So if you plan on, removing all the like bed support pieces and everything else, I don't recommend it because it took me hours to do it. Unless you can find a better way of taking the hucks out, but. So there's a support piece here, on the other side as well, one going across the top, and then it was, the bed support comes here, goes that way, and then one that goes that way, and then there's also this a piece down here with the seat belt connected to. So I got all of that out, and then now it's time to mock up the ring around it. And I still have to cut the ring same size as I did the cab, but I'm gonna mock it up first in the original, size that it came in, and trace that because it's only the bottom, little section down here that's gonna be different. So let's get started on that. Alright guys, we got E here, he's working on the tractor. We do work on tractors and fix them up, so if you guys want to us to record us doing that, let us know in the comments, and we'll see if we do that. But get back to the ring. So I got the top kind of mounted in there, just all the rivets across the top. About to get ready to put this bottom one in, and you guys can see up here, I only have 3 of the steel puck rivets in because I ran out of those. So I had to change over to I think these are aluminum or stainless steel or something. So it's a little bit different, but once we paint it, you won't be able to see it. So I got most of the holes drilled down here. There's a couple here that are smaller bit, and I just didn't get the right size bit for those. So I'll have to drill those, and the same thing on this side, but I'm gonna wait until I do these, until after I get this one mocked in and a couple rivets in that as well. So let's get to it. So before I go any further, I'm putting the ring in. I did the top, pretty much all of it except for the top corners up here. And I did the bottom piece just down the side, and I have to do along the bottom, but I have to take out the seat belts to be able to get around this corner. And then the Milwaukee gun doesn't really fit underneath. It's a tight gap, about an inch gap there, so I'm going to use the air drill to try to drill those out. But before I get started on that, I'm going to try to re-put in the support piece or bracket, which is right there. It wouldn't fit. I tried before I hooked the ring in. So what I'm going to do is just cut it about 8 inches, or at least so it goes over here. So at least it'll get a couple hooks in there to help support the ring and the cab. It probably doesn't need it, just because there's a lot of rivets in this and the ring is pretty sturdy, but I'd rather be safe than sorry and put it in there. So before I do the bottom, let's try to get this done so the whole top part of the ring will be finished, and then it's just the bottom. So the ring is installed. Feels good to have it in there. It was a big project, pretty nerve-wracking cutting the body panels of the truck, even though, we've replaced body panels before over there on that truck. So it wouldn't have been that bad if I screwed up, but still pretty nerve-wracking, but it sits in there really nice. I'm pretty proud of my work. It's still, it's not perfect, but it looks pretty good. And you're not going to see, like this gap here. You're not going to see that because the boot's going to be there, and then the interior is going to wrap around on this side of it. So, and we do have to modify that interior because, that went over to here. So we have to cut it back, or maybe we'll get some new interior panels. I don't know. But here's that bracket I was telling you about, the support piece that went across the top. I just cut it right there, so it's got 2 hooks that are in the ring itself, and then one going to the other support right there. So I got it on both sides, and I think it looks awesome for my first time doing it, or I guess our first time doing it. So it looks great. I also have the carpet out, as you can see here. That one was smelled like mildew, and we'll just get a new one. I mean, it's due for a new one since it's over what is it? It's not 20 years old yet, but no, it's over 20, about 25 years old, 6. So it's about time for a new carpet, and I do have to eventually, before we put the new carpet in, that's where the seat belt like hooks that hook it to the cab, right here and right here as well. So I have to put those back in, but those can wait, and I have to clean them up because they are pretty corroded and rusty. So make them look all nice and new. Maybe we'll just buy new ones, but I guess the next thing to do would be to put the ring on the bunk, but we have to get it in here, and it's still out on one of our trailers outside from us moving, so I'm not going to do that right now. But I think the next step is going to be taking the horns off the top of the truck, because we're taking those off, and I'm going to put train horns on it. And then also those spotlights on either side, taking those off. And it's got a massive hole from, well, I have no idea what went there, but I think that's going to be my next step, and start taking the cleaners, the mirrors, everything off, getting ready for some body work or paint work, steps, all the light panels. And then after I get that off, then we can bring that bunk in here. And then we also have to figure out where it's going to mount, because the bunk we took off, the studio sleeper, it was air ride in the back. As you can see, the brackets were right here. And that was a 63-inch bunk, I think, or I don't really remember. But the other one is a 42 or 44-inch bunk, and it's probably going to end right about here. So it's a little bit of a difference, so we're going to have to cut holes in the frame to get the airbag mounting brackets up there. So it's going to be a little bit of fabrication work, I guess you can call it, if cutting holes in the frame is fabrication work. But let's start taking some of the parts off the truck, get it ready for body work.
Didn't do too much filming today. We had Spectrum putting in, or at least running the line from the street back to the building so we can get some internet out here. So there's tons of trucks that were here, and I think probably 9 guys, and they're in and out and making a ton of noise. So worked out fine. I had to do some running around for the chrome shop, so no big deal. But Dave was here earlier. He started just doing some cleaning up on the wiring. The wiring in this truck, at least in the engine bay, is a complete rat's nest, and there's so many butt connectors and zip ties everywhere, and there's no way we're gonna clean this up, because I'm not a fan of how it looks, and you know, it looks horrible, honestly. And we'll clean it up as best we can. I mean, we can't do magic and get rid of all of it, but we'll try our best. And I mean, look at the wiring that just sits in the battery box. I don't know really how or what's supposed to be here, other than obviously your cables for your terminals, but it's just a colossal mess, and it just worries me, you know, going through the wires, similar to what we did to the flat top. We just want to make sure everything's clean, nothing's going to be shorting out, because the last thing we want when, you know, we're done with this truck, and the last thing we want is for it to catch on fire, because that would be absolutely horrible and a waste of a lot of time and a lot of money. So what I'm doing right now is I'm flipping the tires around. I got the back axle done. I don't know, probably should have done it the other way, but I don't know, we'll figure it out. I got this new tool, which I think is pretty cool. It's called a heavy duty torque multiplier wrench. And basically what it does is it's got a bunch of gears in here, and you put it on your lug nut. It's hard to do this one-handed. You put it on like that, and as you rotate this spindle back here, it's like one rotation. It takes 60 rotations for the back spindle for one full rotation in the front. And honestly, it makes it real easy. You just go around to all the lug nuts, pop them loose, and then you can just take your Milwaukee gun and drive them off real quick. We do have a big impact gun that hooks to the air compressor, but something's going on with it. I don't know. The air compressor's not putting out enough PSI to really take these lugs off, but we'll get that fixed at some point here. But I saw these. It's like 90 bucks on Amazon, so I said, why not just order it? So I'm gonna finish taking this off at least for tonight. It's about 9 o'clock now, so it's a little bit past later than what I would want to be out here, but you know, I can't complain being in this place. I'll be out here to 4 o'clock in the morning if I have to. Guys, that's going to be a wrap on today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching us completely tear this truck down. All the work we've done to the cab and to the sleeper as well to cut in that big ring from truck shrouds. And if we go look at this other present we have sitting in the sleeper, it's another ring from truck shrouds as well. And we're going to cut in a window in the back of the sleeper, hopefully get some light in here. And I think it's going to look really cool. But as you can see, you know, we swapped the tires over so we'll have better access to the frame to get everything here sanded, prepped, and primed in. And then I think we're just gonna go with a flat black paint. I think that sort of looks the best. We could do like a crazy color paint or like paint match to the truck. But I sort of just like the flat black, especially for this truck. I don't think we wanna take that much time to completely sand it flat and make it beautiful, but it will look great when we're done with it. And I just like the flat black anyways. So this is the big ring we have now in the sleeper, in the cab. That turned out awesome. Dave did a killer job in cutting both these in. And then the only thing we're waiting for in order to mount that sleeper is we have to get the bracketry specific to that sleeper, because what we have on here is not gonna work. So we're gonna look for that, and we gotta get that on order. But we have a lot of work even before we can put that sleeper back on. I'm sure you can see the inside of this thing is all stripped out as well. We had to get access to all the panels and all the supports in there in order to cut this thing in. We got the hood off the front, the bumper off the front, and now we're going through the wiring, making sure everything is, clean and tucked in there, and no wires are frayed that are going to short anything out or potentially cause a fire. I really think that's about it. It was a lot of work to get to this point, but we have a lot of work still ahead of us, and we got to get it cleaned up and really ready for paint is the next step.
So we also want to say thank you guys for all the support you guys gave us on our first video, kind of being back. And you guys left a lot of great comments, and it was very supportive, and we appreciate it. There was a lot of comments also about what we should do to the shop. There was one about sound deadening material to put up in here to cut down on the noise. That was awesome. And then another one was about a wireless mic to improve the video quality. So we appreciate all those comments to help us out. And so we're going to start looking into all of that stuff to improve the video quality. But yeah, so we're finished for this video, working on this truck. But we're going to, of course, have the series of us, doing everything else to this. And then we're also going to have some other videos working on some other things for you guys. But yeah, so that's about it. And remember, keep those wheels rolling.